friends, welcome back. I am Vivekanandan. You might be an employee thinking about quitting your job and starting your own business. Or you might be an entrepreneur who's already running a business, but during moments of struggle, you might think that I should have never quit my job in the first place. Both these feelings are common and natural. In today's video, we are going to discuss about what are the advantages and disadvantages of being an employee and an entrepreneur. First, we will be discussing about these things, and at the end, we will discuss about what are the common qualities to be developed, whether you are going to be an employee or an entrepreneur. So this is going to be today's video, and let's right away start discussing about these things. To start with, we should be remembering one important thing, which is being an employee or being an entrepreneur is completely one person's individual choice. There is nothing called as you should be doing only this or you should be doing only this. So it is completely left to the individual, and nothing is right and nothing is wrong. So we always need to remember this. So now let's start with advantages of being an employee. And after that, later we will go to advantages of an entrepreneur. So to start with, we will deal with the first element, which is of finance and money. So whom do you feel is relatively in a better position in terms of finance and money? Many might think it is the business person, but it is not so. An employee is better placed, better equipped in terms of money, because the first important advantage an employee has is a fixed salary. The same is not guaranteed for an entrepreneur, particularly at the beginning of his or her career, because sometimes sales may not have happened, or sometimes even if sales would have happened, the expenses might be much more than the sales. But in terms of an employee, whether it is a high or a low salary, you have a salary which is fixed. So that is the first thing. So relatively much more comfortable. Second most important thing is, since a person has a salary, what they can do is they can pay their bills properly. They can plan for the month in terms of buying groceries, household items, or some close family function happens. You will be better placed in a situation to spend for that particular function. But none of this is guaranteed in terms of an entrepreneur in the early stages of their career. And this is the most important advantage of being an employee, which is if you are working for a company for several years and you are in a good position, drawing a handsome salary. Now what happens is an employee has much more chances of getting a loan from a bank, whether it is a house loan or whatever loan it is. A bank will be ready to give an employee a loan because that particularly the employee has paid their taxes properly. But this can never be expected in terms of an entrepreneur, because so banks will never be ready to provide a loan to an entrepreneur. They really need to check a lot of things before giving a loan. But maybe in the later stages of the entrepreneur's life, banks come forward to give their loan. That is a totally different story. So I'm speaking, so in terms of money and finance, an employee is always better position, a little bit comfortable than an entrepreneur. This is at the first time. Second, in terms of lifestyle, who is leading a peaceful life? It is always an employee, because an employee has a fixed time limit, whether it is a 9 to 5 or if it is much more number of hours. End of the day, they have some kind of a fixed number of hours to work. But in the case of an entrepreneur, it will never happen. They need to be ready to work 24/7, and this is the first thing. Second is, an employee always has a guarantee of holidays. So whether it is a very important festival or it is Sundays or any other thing, an employee will always have some holidays. But in the case of an entrepreneur, he or she always needs to be ready to work even during weekends, and there might be a sudden emergency which might be happening where they really have to attend. So holidays, they also have but relatively less number of holidays. I mean, it doesn't mean that entrepreneurs do not take holidays. They also have holidays, but they have to be ready to work during holidays as well. There might be something which might emerge disrupting their holiday plans. So that is also there. And most importantly, life of an employee will always go smooth if they are going to plan correctly, because they know that this is the salary which they are going to derive for a particular month. So if they are going to plan properly, their life will be very, very smooth. But in terms of an entrepreneur, it will never be smooth, because there is a lot of risks which is in there, which will emerge in their life at any time of their career, whether at the start of their career or in their mid-career, or even after establishing their business for several number of years. There might be a sudden challenge in their particular life to continue their business. So that is one reason why entrepreneurs are being advised to take calculated risks so that they remain peaceful. That is also very much important. So this is in terms of advantages of an employee. Now let's jump into advantages of an entrepreneur. What are the advantages of being an entrepreneur? The number one advantage of being an entrepreneur is all about freedom. Freedom in their personal life and freedom in their professional life. And what do you mean by freedom in their personal life? For example, they may not have some correct exact holidays, fixed holidays, but imagine during a weekday, assume it is a Wednesday or a Thursday, you don't have any more mood to work, and you want to take a vacation, you can right away plunge into it and you can take a holiday, whether it is on a Thursday or a Wednesday, it doesn't matter. You want to attend your relative's family function, you go, or you want to watch your favorite movie during a daytime or the first day, first show, you can do that. Or you want to go to a hospital, or you can go to a bank. You will not be, you don't need to get a permission for all these things. But whereas in the terms of an employee, the employee always needs to get a permission to do all these particular things. So this is in terms of their personal life, much more freedom. So that is one thing. Second is, entrepreneurs tend to have more independence in terms of their professional lives also, because they are the decision makers. Whether the decision turns out to be good or bad, the responsibility lies with the entrepreneur. But the point over here is, the entrepreneur is a decision maker, much more independence. They can experiment a lot with their professions. Whatever they wanted to pursue, they can actually go and pursue, because they are answerable to themselves. But in terms of an employee, end of the day, they can also do all these experiments, but finally, somewhere at some level, they have to approve it. So that particular independence a little bit curtailed, but today's companies, modern companies, are giving a lot of independence and freedom in terms of both these personal and their professional life in today's scenario. But now let's speak about money and finance. An entrepreneur, once they establish their business, their profits are very, very higher. Once their struggling phase is over, for example, whether it is 2 years or 5 years or 10 years or whatever number of years, once they are going to withstand it and finally establish their business, after that it is going to be very much smooth. Only they have to manage things. After that, what happens is they will be able to take much more higher profits. So that which will lead to financial independence also. So that is also something very important, financial independence, and there's a high chances of an entrepreneur achieving financial independence than an employee. So this is also there. And the next most important factor is an entrepreneur's life is much more creative. And why do I say that? Because they don't repeat the same process every day, because every day, day in, day out, they are going to face a lot of challenges in the form of one day a sales team will bring a challenge, and the next day product team will bring a challenge, and another day they might the R&D team might raise one. In between, they have to attend meetings with a lot of professionals. There's so many things will be happening in their life, but this can take a toll on them. But if they're going to enjoy it, it is going to be an adventure. If they're not going to enjoy it, this will become a big stress. Whereas in an employee, there is high chances that their work nature might become very, very monotonous because they will be doing the same kind of a job again and again. But again, companies are becoming much more creative to make their job much more interesting also. So that is also one particular fact. And last one important point is an entrepreneur's life, it is not dependent, that particular job that is not dependent on any recession or any medical emergency, nothing. Their role is not going to change at any cost. They remain their job position is going to be intact. But whereas for an employee, what happens is that kind of an insecurity might creep in due to various external factors. So that is there. At the end of the day, if I'm going to summarize it, it is completely your wish to become an employee or an entrepreneur. But whether you want to remain a successful employee or a successful entrepreneur, you need to develop a certain qualities, which is number one, it is all about being updated. Whatever is happening in your field, please stay updated. That is the first thing. Second is we have to really develop the relevant skills required for the job or required for the position. And the third is the most important one, which is whether an employee or an entrepreneur, they need to develop this entrepreneurial mindset. They have to achieve things at all odds. That is something very much important. The kind of resilience, the kind of bouncing back nature, that kind of fighting spirit to attain things, to make things happen, to solve problems. This is what we call it as entrepreneurial mindset. That is something very much necessary, whether the person is going to remain as an employee or an entrepreneur. It is said that India needs entrepreneurs to provide more jobs, but we also have to remember this: India needs equally competent employees. So both we need to solve these problems of the society and make the nation a prosperous nation, and make your nation a prosperous and a proud nation. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for